But what a win! What a win! Spam them W's in chat.
And the Indiana Fever without Caitlin Clark go up against the Las Vegas Aces and last year's MVP, A'ja Wilson.
Well, my goodness, the Indiana Fever pulled it off. Defeated the Las Vegas Aces. Gotta tell you, Aaron McDonald, that was a big shot.
The arena erupted, but it wasn't just the crowd. It was Caitlin Clark herself, bolting upright from the bench like lightning had struck the Gainbridge Fieldhouse floor. In a moment that would define the Indiana Fever's stunning 80-70 victory over the Las Vegas Aces, the superstar rookie's raw, unfiltered emotion captured what every basketball fan felt, watching this seismic upset unfold. This wasn't supposed to happen. The defending champion Aces, led by A'ja Wilson and Chelsea Gray, weren't supposed to fall to—
Would have thought this team can score over 20 points in a quarter without Caitlin Clark. We managed to get it done yesterday.
The setup was pure drama. Indiana's Caitlin Clark remained sidelined with a groin injury, and the Fever said Thursday there was no timetable for her return. The Fever entered Thursday night's clash against Las Vegas carrying the weight of uncertainty. Their cornerstone player, the woman who single-handedly transformed this franchise from afterthought to appointment television, was relegated to street clothes and sideline support. But if you thought that would dampen the intensity, you clearly don't know Caitlin Clark. From the opening tip, the Iowa legend was a woman possessed on that bench, coaching, encouraging, and living every possession as if she were out there herself. Her teammates fed off that energy like sharks sensing blood in the water. Sophie Cunningham stepped into the spotlight with the confidence of a seasoned veteran.
She played the best defense I have ever seen from a Fever player in any individual game. That is a complete exaggeration.
Cunningham, who made her third straight start for Indiana and responded with 15 points, 3 rebounds, played with the kind of fearless aggression that makes champions. But it wasn't just her scoring, it was her leadership, her defensive intensity, and most importantly, her refusal to let the Aces impose their will on Indiana's home court. The first quarter belonged to Las Vegas. They came out swinging, looking every bit like the defending champions who expected to steamroll a Clarkless Fever squad. A'ja Wilson dominated early, Chelsea Gray orchestrated the offense with surgical precision, and the Aces built what looked like a commanding lead. In the stands, you could feel the nervous energy. Was this going to be another reminder of just how crucial Clark is to this team's success? But basketball is a game of momentum, and momentum is exactly what the Fever seized in the second quarter. Kelsey Mitchell caught fire from beyond the arc. Kelsey Mitchell scores 21 points, but it was how she scored them that had Clark on her feet. Each three-pointer seemed to carry more defiance than the last. Each drive to the basket, a declaration that this team wouldn't go quietly into the night.
Kelsey Mitchell, awful night shooting from the field. 33%, had 21 points. But I don't love to see these low field goal percentage games.
And there was Clark, positioned at the edge of the bench like a conductor before an orchestra, her arms windmilling with every defensive stop, her voice cutting through the arena noise with instructions and encouragement. This wasn't a passive observer. This was a leader refusing to let distance from the action diminish her impact. The third quarter became pure theater. Sophie Cunningham wasn't just playing basketball, she was making a statement. Every contested shot, every defensive rotation, every hustle play carried the weight of a team proving they were more than just Caitlin Clark's supporting cast. Sophie Cunningham, known as the Indiana Fever's enforcer, brings energy and competitiveness to the team while protecting star Caitlin Clark. But tonight, she was protecting something bigger, the team's identity, their playoff hopes, their belief in themselves. The Aces fought back with the desperation of champions who suddenly realized they were in a dogfight. Wilson attacked the rim with renewed fury. Gray pushed the pace, trying to create easy baskets through transition. But for every Vegas surge, the Fever had an answer. Aaliyah Boston controlled the paint. Lexi Hull provided crucial minutes off the bench. This was team basketball at its finest, with each player understanding their role in the larger symphony. And through it all, Caitlin Clark was the emotional heartbeat of the team. Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White continue to vociferously disagree with officials. Every questionable call had Clark animated on the sideline, her passion infectious, her belief in her teammates absolute. She wasn't just watching a game, she was willing this victory into existence through sheer force of personality. The fourth quarter arrived with the tension of a heavyweight championship fight. Neither team could deliver the knockout blow. Each possession carried playoff implications, each shot the weight of a season's aspirations. The Aces, facing the shocking possibility of losing to an undermanned Fever squad, threw everything they had at Indiana's defense. But Sophie Cunningham stood firm. In the biggest moments, when champions are separated from pretenders, she made the plays that matter.
And I was very high on Sophie Cunningham in this game. She was exceptional with 15 points. She shot at 4 or 5 from the field, 3 or 4 from the three-point line. And it wasn't just the fact that Sophie Cunningham made shots. It was the moments in which she made those shots. I think she was a very crucial piece to the Indiana Fever winning these games because she would hit a three when the Fever really needed it.
A crucial steal with 3 minutes remaining. A contested three-pointer that extended the lead. A defensive stop that left A'ja Wilson shaking her head in frustration. This was the performance of a player refusing to be overshadowed by star power, demanding her own spotlight. Howard finished with 18 points and 13 rebounds, and Boston had 13 points and 10 boards. These weren't just statistics. They were statements. Te'ira McCowan dominated the glass. Nalissa Smith provided crucial energy. Every contribution mattered, every minute counted, every player understood they were part of something special. With 30 seconds remaining and the Fever clinging to a 6-point lead, the arena reached fever pitch. The Aces had one final surge left, one last desperate attempt to steal victory from the jaws of defeat. But as Chelsea Gray's three-point attempt clanged off the rim, as the rebound was secured by Boston, as the clock ticked towards 0, Caitlin Clark exploded. She didn't just stand up, she launched herself from that bench like a rocket breaking Earth's atmosphere. Her arms shot skyward, her face a mask of pure joy and vindication. This wasn't just celebration. This was validation of everything this team represented. The doubters who said they couldn't compete without their star. The critics who questioned their depth. The Aces who expected an easy victory on enemy territory. In that moment, as confetti fell and the crowd roared, Caitlin Clark's reaction captured the essence of sport itself. The unscripted emotion, the genuine joy, the proof that basketball is more than just a game, it's a platform for human drama at its most raw and authentic. Sophie Cunningham had delivered the performance of her life. The supporting cast had proved they were stars in their own right. The Fever had sent a message to the entire WNBA that they weren't going anywhere quietly. And Caitlin Clark, despite being in street clothes, had been the emotional catalyst for one of the season's most stunning upsets. This victory meant everything because it proved everything. It proved the Fever's depth, their resilience. Their championship aspirations weren't entirely dependent on one player, no matter how spectacular that player might be. It proved Sophie Cunningham belongs in conversations about elite WNBA talent. It proved this team has the mental fortitude to compete with anyone, anywhere, under any circumstances.
The Aces, anytime the Aces think they're going to walk in and win a game, unless it's against like the Sun or something, they either win by 30 or lose. Like there's no in between.
But perhaps most importantly, it proved that Caitlin Clark's impact extends far beyond her individual statistics. Her leadership from the bench, her emotional investment in every possession, her ability to elevate teammates through sheer force of will, these intangibles might be even more valuable than her triple-doubles and highlight reel assists. The aftermath was pure magic. Players embracing, coaches celebrating, fans on their feet in sustained ovation. The Aces, shell-shocked and searching for answers, trudged toward their locker room wondering how they'd let this opportunity slip away. Meanwhile, the Fever basked in the glow of validation, their playoff positioning suddenly looking much more secure. Without Clark, the Fever, considered WNBA title contenders at the beginning of the year, moved to 13-12 and into 6th in the standings with an 80-70 home win over the Las Vegas Aces. But these numbers only tell part of the story. This wasn't just about standings or playoff positioning. This was about identity, about proving they could compete with elite teams even when missing their biggest weapon. For Sophie Cunningham, this performance was a coming out. Championship contenders are taking notice of a Fever team that refuses to fold under pressure. Playoff seeding calculations just became infinitely more complicated. And somewhere in the back of every opposing coach's mind is the terrifying thought: if they can play like this without Caitlin Clark, what happens when she returns? That's the beautiful uncertainty that makes sports magical. We don't know when Clark will return to action, but we know this team has proven they can compete at the highest level in her absence. We don't know how far this Fever squad can go in the playoffs, but we know they have the heart of champions. We don't know what Thursday night's victory ultimately means for their season, but we know it meant everything to everyone in that building. Caitlin Clark's explosive reaction captured all of this and more. It was joy, vindication, pride, and promise, all rolled into one unforgettable moment. It was a reminder that basketball's greatest moments often happen away from the box score, in the raw human emotions that make this sport infinitely more than a game. The road ahead remains challenging. Clark's return timeline remains uncertain. The playoff race remains competitive. But Thursday night proved something invaluable. This Indiana Fever team has championship DNA flowing through their veins, with or without their biggest star. That's the kind of discovery that can change everything. That's the kind of performance that transforms seasons. That's the kind of moment that years from now, players will point to as the exact instant they knew they were special. And it all started with Caitlin Clark jumping out of her seat, as if her very soul couldn't contain the joy of watching her teammates conquer the impossible. Ready to witness more incredible WNBA moments? Smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss the drama, the upsets, and the unforgettable reactions that make women's basketball absolutely electric.